what I decided to do was something that I wanted to try, which was to kind of do a just chatting stream. The idea is each week to have a new topic. I'm going to have like video clips, put it together really well. So it'll be like a live show. Thank you, Jimmy. Hectic. Thank you. I explain all of it in the description. There's also an info. So Googled amazing eyebrows. Damn straight, brother. What's up, Dangerous Deal? How's it going? So there's a whole thing there. If you ! Info, you'll get to read it, which is basically what I'm trying to do. So these will be like weekly chats. This is the first one. They don't have a name. They probably need a name. So if you have a name, drop those in. But the idea is that I'll get clips together and we'll do like a live show and we'll kind of see where it goes. You'll be able to put in questions and then you'll also be able to submit your ideas for topics, which is what I'm about to do now. So I'm going to set up a queue because I'm a bit scared that I'm probably questions and topic suggestions. We'll keep it at 30. Maybe we keep it at 20. Okay, there we go. So I've set up a queue. So I'm going to explain how this works a little bit as well. Basically, the idea is that once a week, I'll just drop in a topic. You guys will choose what that is. I'm going to set up a poll in a little bit as well, so you can vote for next week's topic, but you can also add your topics as you go. And the idea is that like once a week, we'll just chat. And I'll normally have like some video content if I can to add to it, and we'll kind of make it like it's like a live podcast basically. So you dictate the direction it goes. I'll try and make sure that I'm researched enough that I can talk about it. Like that's not how they do it. So this is how it's going to work. If you want to submit a question, there's two things. So the first is that this definitely needs a name. So in an ideal world, if you would like to submit a name for the show, if we decide to do more than one, then you need to put that in Discord or Twitch chat. You can get my Discord, !Discord. Then we also reached a level 2 hype train. Yay! Thank you. And then what we're going to do is that... there we go, Carl. Thanks, Hangry. Then what we're going to do is we're just going to chat. So the first topic was chosen from Twitter. I'm going to then have an option for you to submit your questions or your topic ideas if there's something you want me to investigate, to look into, to write about. And then I'm also going to run a poll where you can vote for next week's topic. So that's how we're going to do it. What's up, Icy Shadow? I hope this all makes sense, and I hope everyone is happy. In order to submit a question about the stuff we're going to be talking about, or if you have a topic, you need to do !join, and then you need to write your question. So I'm going to do this in the chat now to help you along. !join. This is an example of how to submit a topic and or question. If you do that, it'll put me in a queue and then I can go through. This is so that I don't miss stuff in the chat while I'm talking. And then I'll also, if you put through some good topics, we'll put them in the poll as well. We do currently have, I have a poll, but I'll submit it in, I put it live probably in the next like 4 or 5 minutes. I kind of want to see if anyone has any other cool topics, to be honest. So yeah, there we go. That's how this is going to work. The idea is that if you submit the questions, I can't miss them because the chat might move fast. I'm hoping. But today I asked on Twitter what you wanted me to talk about, and one of the topics that came out was how to make esports. I just want to hold on, guys, for the chat. Can we just, Trin, can we not do that? Like timing people out and deleting their comments and stuff unless it goes against chat rules, because it's going to throw me off while I'm trying to do this. I don't know. He said a swore. Okay, cool. So fair enough then. Then I trust you. So today, the first topic that came up on Twitter was how to make money from, how to make esports a full-time gig in South Africa. So I've kind of made it how to make esports a full-time gig in South Africa or smaller regions. Also, while we're doing this, guys, again, this whole thing needs like a topic, a name. So if you want to drop that in there, I'd appreciate it. I'm going to talk a little bit about some stuff. You can drop in your questions. Brandy, I'll definitely answer that for you in a little bit. So here we go. We're going to start. I hope I get this right. Right, let's go. The idea is that when I do this, we'll have extra little bits and pieces. Also, yay, we got a hype train level 1, and it means we got a bunch of emotes. Thank you, friends. Danger Deal, you watch my duck. I love that, dude. That little ducky. Okay, so I actually made notes to do this properly because I don't want this to just be a mess up. All right, so we need a name. Think about that, but let's start. So the question was on Twitter. I can't even remember who asked it, but they basically were like, how do you turn esports in full-time in South Africa or in smaller regions? So there's a couple of things that we obviously need to chat about. So before we begin, I think it's really important to understand that I am an esports shoutcaster / commentator. That is what I do full-time. I'm also a content creator, so I'm here on the stream, obviously saying there like freelancer, like content makes me money, but the full bulk of my income comes, the stuff that like pays my bills comes from esports commentating. And it's important for me to also note, because as part of this conversation, is that I'm losing my voice now. This is going to be so weird. This is a very weird thing for me, but I'm going to try it anyway. So the thing is that the majority of my money comes from esports commentating, but also the majority of that commentating work comes from overseas. But I obviously started in South Africa. I'm going to have to cough now. I'm going to do a thing where I talk. So there you go. You can drop those questions in. Nothing's off topic. We can always find a new way to put them into a topic. So I do this full time. I'm based in South Africa, but the majority of my work comes from overseas, but I do a lot of South African work. So I did feel like I could answer this. So for me, the first thing, and I've written these notes, so I am going to read through them. I'm just going to touch them, is that the most important thing that you need to ask yourself when someone says, can you make esports a full-time thing? I'm going to work with can you, and then I'm going to move to how. So the first thing is, can you do it? So I think you can. I think there's people that are doing it full-time here. Me, I do it full-time. I think that there's a lot of people, just off the top of my head, outside of just me, I know that Thabo Young Savage Malloy, who is probably one of South Africa's best FIFA players, he is a full-time FIFA player. He's still at school, but he makes a living from esports, and he funds his family. So I'm going to drop an article that I did a really cool interview with Thabo, which I'm actually going to drop in the chat, because I think it's really important for people to understand, because a lot of people don't realize this, that his dad passed away last year, and he finances his sister and his mom while he's still at school, and he's financing them through his esports work. So I've dropped the link to that update in the chat. What I'll also do is I'll do an update in my Discord afterwards with all these links. So if you want to get any, I'm actually just going to paste them all in my Discord, and then I'll do an update on my Discord after I'm done, so you can go and take a look at them if you miss any. So !Discord if you want. So the first thing is, like I said, who does it? So Thabo as a player, definitely. I do believe that Fady from ATK is full-time playing, probably also still at school, but I know that he is playing. Obviously, there is also, thanks for the follow, Jade. There's also people who work at Medal State, at ATK, at ACGL, the owners, the people that work there, they're getting paid salaries. So this is something that they technically do. They do esports full-time? Yes. So can you make it a full-time thing in South Africa and smaller regions? Of course you can, but the next question has to be how, which was the question that came up. So how do you turn this into a full-time gig if this is something you want to do? So The first few things that you have to keep in mind, and I think the next time I do this, I'm going to have like a little PowerPointy thing so that this is a bit more visually pleasing, so you're not just looking at my boring face the whole time. And also, please don't forget, if you can come up with a name for these, that would be rad. So the first thing, obviously, is you need to ask yourself, how do you turn this into a full-time gig? So the first question you have to ask yourself is, what exactly do you want to do, and what are the barriers to entry? So this is a big one for me, because I think a lot of people will turn around and say, okay, I want to make esports a full-time thing and I want to be a player. And that's cool, but there's a barrier to that, which we'll get into. And that's something that you need to keep in mind. You need to decide what it is you want to do. So you want to be a player? Cool. You want to be a commentator? Cool. You want to be a tournament organizer? That's cool. You want to manage an MGO? Cool. You want to be a video editor? Rad. You want to be a graphic designer? Cool. You need to decide what it is you want to do. The biggest problem is that some people go, and this actually, like a lot of these things I'm going to be talking about don't even relate to esports. They just relate to being a freelancer in general and what you need to think about when you want to be your own boss. But you need to think about the barriers to entry. And then you also need to be careful of not being that person who's like, well, I kind of want to work in esports, so I'll do all of it. It's rad. We've all had to dip our toes into different things and do lots of things. But that's not a goal to set yourself. You can't just go in and be like, well, I'll do whatever so I can make it full time. Thanks, Cougar. I'm gonna copy paste that real day. Hey, Iggy, what's happening? I'm just gonna copy paste that as a suggestion and just drop it in here for a little later. I gotta try to keep track of all the stuff. So, like I said, this is for anything freelancers. What is the barrier to entry? What is it you want to do? Everyone in esports, in smaller regions and regions like South Africa, we've had to do like lots of stuff. So obviously, you can come in and say, well, I'll do anything to make this full time. But legit, that's not a good way to step into this. You can't kind of be like, well, I'll do anything. No, like there's something that you love and there's something that you're passionate about and there's something that you think you have a skill in. So choose that. So the first thing you have to do is say, what do you want to do? And then once you've determined what it is you want to do, you need to determine what the barriers to entry are and which skills you need to have. So let's go through barriers to entry. I'm going to focus on a couple of things, right? I'll stop every once in a while and say hello to everyone and things like that, but I'm worried I'm going to lose my train of thought. So I see you all. And don't forget, if you do want to put stuff in, ! Join. You can put your question in there, or you can suggest a topic, and that's all in there. So obviously the thing that you need to then decide, like I mentioned, is what skills do you need and what are the barriers to entry? So here's where it gets tricky. And this is always, if this question comes up, I think people might be a little bit uncomfortable about this. And I'm going to say some things that are probably going to upset people or then feel frustrated, and I apologize in advance. But if you want to be a full-time player or a full-time commentator, the barriers to entry are a lot more. So if you turn around and say, I'm going to be in South Africa in this really small region, I'm going to be a full-time commentator. The first barrier to entry is that you have limited work available, limited paid work available to you because we're much smaller. We have less tournaments, they pay less. So that's the first thing, right? That's your first barrier to entry. The second barrier to entry as a commentator is like, you have to have some skill. And this is something that a lot of people, you've got to, there's a lot more to commentating than just, okay, well, I can commentate games. You need to understand the basics of production, the basics of presenting. You need to look good on camera. It's an ugly truth. No one likes it, but there it is. And then obviously you need to have some sort of experience, because you can't just step in and go, I'm going to be a full-time esports commentator. I've quit my job. Here I go. Hire me for work. Because someone's going to be like, no. Because what have you done? So that's your barrier to entry. As a player, you got to be good, right? I think a lot of people come in and say, I'm going to be full-time in esports and I'm going to be a full-time player. But like, you need to be... Actually, you don't even need to be good. You need to be one of the best, because even some of the best can't do this full time. So that's the other thing that you have to think about. And as a player, what are the barriers to entry? Well, you have to be the best. You have to be winning tournaments. You likely have to be, if you're in a team, your team needs to be good. You have to be so good. And to do it, there are so minimal amount of players that can actually do this full time. And of course, they're not making you can't make your money. We'll get into the money thing. Actually, just hold on. That's my next step. But those are the things. So, and the same goes for production, for graphic design. What is the barrier to entry? Is the scene flooded? I mean, that's a big thing. Is there more? So this is a nice one for tournament organizers. I want to be a tournament organizer. So you decide you want to do esports full time. I'm going to be a tournament organizer. But like, look at the size of our player base. That's the size of our player base. And then look at how many tournament organizers we have. Is the market flooded? Yes. So your barrier to entry is going to be that there's like a flooding, and how do you stand out? So those are all things you have to think about. And again, these are not just with esports, these are with freelancing in general, but I'm going to break down why the South Africa / sort of smaller region thing comes into play now. Small break. Everyone chill. We're going to take a little break. So here's a couple of things just to remind you. If you want to submit a question, if you want to include anything, I'm having a water break. ! Join, and then just write your question there. You can also choose which topic you'd like us to chat about. So I have some topics, and I'm thinking I'm going to load the poll now. So these were topics that were submitted. I'm actually going to change some of these. I'm just going to add another one. Let's add another one. So I'm going to go through the queue now, because there were some people that dropped some topics in the queue. So we'll just add as we go to the people in the queue. How do you, maybe off topic? I'm going to answer some of these questions, but there's a really good one about researching players and teams. I think that would be quite a cool one. So I'm actually going to put that in as a possible topic. So I'm just quickly changing up the poll. You haven't missed anything. 3, 4, 5. Okay. Okay, I've also started the poll, so this will decide what we're going to talk about next week if we do this. So poll is open for what? Oh, really? So it doesn't show you the options? Hold on, sorry guys. I'm just trying to make sure that this is like, show the options. No? No, this isn't gonna work. Oh, damn, son. Okay, I'm just trying to fix this. Sorry, guys. We'll have to vote for... Well, I have to vote for Mike. I'm sorry. Come on to... Yeah, it was kind of one of those things where... Settings? But I had options there. Sorry, guys. Let me just figure out how to get this right. Okay, I'm gonna have to... What a fuck up. Thanks, man. Yeah, F in chat for this one. That sucks. Okay, we'll have to figure this one out. Can I just copy paste this shit? Copy. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna show you what it looks like. These are the topics. Thanks, Danger. No, I kind of want people to get involved, you know? Yeah, thank you for the $10, KV. Thank you, man. Can someone ! Hype in the mix there? I would appreciate that. I'm just going to copy this. Right, there we go. So those are the topics. They're in there now. Thanks, Noob. The topics are there. They're not going to go out of the chat. So basically the topics for esports lecture, I'm there. The topics are that you can vote on for next week. So if you vote, ! Vote 1, why is the ZA fighting games community divided? I'm going to have to research that the whole weekend as well. So thanks, Iggy, for putting that one forward. The legal landscape in esports and gaming in SA, that's vote 2. Rogue Medal State, Rainbow Six Tournament, vote 3. The Apple Epic Battle, vote 4. And how do you research on players, teams to question, interview them? 5. That'll be nice and short. Vote 3. Interesting. There we go. So you can vote. Keep doing that. I'll keep reminding you as we go. Let's get back to what we were chatting about. So we did barriers to entry and skills you need to have. So this is specifically focusing on into computer. Don't change things now. So specifically talking about how to make esports a full-time thing. So barriers to entry, we did that. Skills, what you need to have them. So I can't go through every skill you need depending on what job you want, but I've given you an idea. But the next question that you have to ask yourself, and this is the biggest thing, I think, when people turn around and say, I want to do X, Y, Z, and how do I make a living out of it? Like, whether you want to get into esports or just freelancing, the question that you have to ask is, how much do you actually need to live? And this is a big thing that I think a lot of people don't do when they decide that they want to get into, and we're talking about getting into esports full time, but obviously freelancing as well, is how much do you actually need to live? And I'm not talking, if you're living at home and maybe you don't have to contribute rent, maybe you contribute less rent than you would have to do if you were outside of the house, things like that. It's easy to go, okay, well, I only need to make 1,000 Rand a month, then I'm sorted. Like, that's my drinking money. But that's not how you do this. If you want to if you're thinking, how do I make esports into a full-time thing, you realistically need to ask yourself how much you need to live. And when I say how much do you need to live, that is if your base expenses, which are what you want to eat, what your rent's going to cost, and how you're going to pay your bills without going into massive debt. You need to get that amount down and say, this is how much it's going to cost me each month. So this is how much money I have to make. And once you have that amount, you need to go back to the first question I asked you, which was what are the barriers to entry? Because technically, if one of the barriers is that you don't have a guaranteed income, that's something you legitimately have to think about. Because at the end of the day, it's all very well to say, I want to be, and I'm talking from experience, guys. So now I can say this. I want to be a full-time esports shoutcaster. That's cool. You are not getting guaranteed work. So can I guarantee that my rent's going to be paid at the end of the month? No. Therefore, that's a problem. And this is exactly what Iggy was saying as well. Work out finances first. You can do both. I like to do the first one because I think sometimes when you look at barriers to entry, like, you realize that finances are an issue. And this is the thing, like Noob Slice has just said it in the chat. That was the scariest thing coming into esports, not knowing how stable my income would be, which is my next suggestion. So once you've kind of determined how much you need to live, so you know how much you need to make, you've decided that the path you want to go, the barriers to entry, it's fine, you can get through them. Just because there are barriers doesn't mean you can't knock them down. The next question you have to ask yourself is how much savings you have. Because anyone who goes into something full-time right in the beginning will more than likely not make money for the first 2 months. That's the first thing. So in an ideal world, I'm now going to walk you through what I did, which is not the perfect way to do it, but I kind of think it worked. So I'm going to explain how I did it. So some people quit everything and they stop their jobs and they just go full time. That's cool. If you're living at home and your parents can help you with that, cool story. You try that. This is how I did it. I had a full-time job. I wasn't happy. Going into esports full-time actually wasn't the goal. I just wanted to get out of that job. I was so mad. But I knew that I had, before I resigned, I knew that I had 5 months that I could live. So I worked out what the minimal cost was for me to pay my bills, not what I was spending now. I mean, like minimal, like 2-minute noodle costs for 5 months. That I could live off that for 5 months. I told myself I had 3 months. So at the end of the 3 months, if I was not making money, if I was not making that minimal amount to cover, right? So I turned around and said, cool, some people do 5, some people do 3, but I said I have 5 months to barely live, like no luxuries, tough on food, things like that, at 5 months. But if I hit 3 months and I was not making money to cover those expenses, I had to go get a job. I'd actually kind of said 2.5. So that was the goal. And I think now the job market's changed a little bit, so you need to maybe give yourself a bit more time. It takes time. So the first month you go on your own, you probably won't make cash. So you kind of need to say, I've got these 3 months lined up. After these 3 months, if I haven't made it, it's done. And you have to set yourself that deadline, because people get themselves into a huge amount of debt because they keep telling themselves that it's coming and, like my break is coming. No, you set yourself a deadline and you stick to it. Also, when I went on my own, another thing is, so the question here and the topic that we're talking about is how to create freelance, how to do esports full time. I don't think that you should just quit your jobs and go, I'm doing esports full time now. I think that you should always have extra stuff. So when I stopped, is that I had that deadline. And then I also did other work. So even though the commentating was kind of where I wanted to be, I had other work lined up. So I came from a corporate background, so I had some corporate consulting that I could do. I obviously had some content stuff that I could do. So I kind of tied that all together to make sure that I knew that those things could carry me through if commentating jobs didn't come up. Because obviously commentating jobs don't. Now I know just from an esports commentating point of view that like November, December is kind of dead. Like now May, June, quiet for a little bit, like different times of the year quieten down. So you have to work out those ebb and flows, which we'll get into later because that's really confusing. But that's what you need to do, is figure out how much savings you have and set yourself that deadline. And then you need to work out income streams. So once you've decided what you want to do, so maybe you want to be in production, maybe you want to be a tournament organizer, maybe you want to be a commentator, which is where I'm talking from, maybe you want to be a full-time player. You need to determine what your income streams are. So, Iggy's just mentioned that that commentating sounds erratic as fuck. Dude, it is. Like, also, and I think this is really important for people who want to get into the commentating side of it, is that, like, you have no guarantee that people will hire you. Even though there's jobs, like you don't know if they'll hire you, that you don't know if they'll accept your rates. So you kind of need to make sure that you have various income streams available in esports. And this goes back to what we were saying earlier about, like, when I said you need to choose your thing that you want to do, is that you can do other things, right? So if your dream, your full-on dream is to be a professional player, you're only going to make money from tournaments with prize pools, and then you need to look at your other income streams. So sponsors, streaming, where's my thing, like subs, things like that. And you need to work out how much money you make from all of them and if you can put them all together. A lot of what I'm telling you is not specific to esports. This is freelancing in general. But like if you want to be a commentator, you need to say, okay, cool, where else can I make my... What's up? Izo, how's it going, dude? What's up? Mario, you're a little bit. Guys, I'm not going to always reply to the chat because I'm busy trying to do this thing. So if you do want to ask questions, don't forget !vote, and then just write your questions or topics that you'd like me to chat about in other episodes so I can go through them. So what I was saying is that you need to then work out your... Oh, not vote. Thanks, Carl. Join. !join, and then write your question or your topic, because I'll forget, because I've never done this live stream thing and it's confusing. But what I'm saying is, in terms of figuring out your income streams, is working out where you can make other cash. So from a commentating point of view, or like if you're a player, right? So you know that the majority of your income is going to come from either the money that you get paid by your MGO or your prize money. Prize money is fluctuating. You never know. You could lose and have a bad day. So where's the most guaranteed? Long-term sponsorship and partnership deals. So either long-term signing for a year to an organization that guarantees you an X amount of money, and then also going I'm looking at Chinook and I'm just like, yeah, no swears, got you, Vinks, don't worry. So that one is either saying, as a player, you go, I'm going to join an MGO, that monthly salary is guaranteed for a year. I'm going to have a sponsor. I'm going to sign a long-term sponsor for a year, and then that money is guaranteed. So that's you work out your income streams and figure it out. But obviously in esports, and this is the biggest problem, I think, is that, like, especially in smaller regions in South Africa, which I'm going to tie back to the original topic, which was how do you make esports a full-time career path in South Africa, is that esports is not something that is regular. It's not something, it fluctuates up and down. So some months we have lots of... I'm reading the chat and I'm losing my train of thought. So some months we have lots of tournaments, and that's cool. Some months we don't. Also, sometimes the prize pools aren't that good. If your dream is to be a professional Rocket League player, that's something you need to think of. So that all comes down to the final point that I kind of wanted to touch on, which was about being realistic. So do you want to turn esports into a full-time thing? Cool. You can do it either by applying to a company that's hiring, because obviously a lot of the big organizers and MGOs and things are hiring now, so you can get a full-time position. Or if you want to be a professional player, I'm not sitting here telling you can't. I'm just saying you need to be realistic. So if you know that being a pro player is what you want to do and that you need to be full-time focused on that, that's cool. But then you need to be realistic about how much money you need to make, how much money you can realistically make, which is the final point we'll talk about. And also, realistically, if you can only do games, maybe as a player you need to be streaming as well. Maybe you need to be creating content, and maybe you need to also focus on other options. So like I said, when I started out, esports shoutcasting wasn't my full-time thing. I was doing content creation on my own platforms, so like YouTube and my blog and things like that. And then I also did freelance consulting, and then I did social media management. So I managed some social media pages and some brands, and all of that gave me income that I needed. So I'm hoping that this is all making sense. I'm covering it all. But the final point I want to make, and now I feel like I'm going to be a bit doom and gloomy. When it comes to smaller regions, and South Africa, and we're talking about South Africa specifically, and turning esports into a full-time thing, you're not going to make huge amounts of money. I think that a lot of people, I'm trying to think of the most politically correct way to say this. A lot of people present an image to the rest of the world that they are rolling in cash and making all this money, and esports is this big thing. And a lot of the time when you pull the curtain away, and I'm talking about esports in South Africa and smaller regions, when you pull the curtain away, they're still living at home with mom and dad. Mom and dad are paying for everything. They're not contributing rent or food. The car that they have, they've probably come from a very privileged background. So the car that they have, mom and dad has paid for it. The computer, they're not paying for the internet. So as much as they're kind of showing you all this cool stuff that they have and telling you about how esports is their full-time gig, or they're a full-time player and they're getting paid by their MGO, when you pull the curtain back, they're being looked after. The MGO is the MGO, they're making 500, 1,000 rand from the MGO, which is cool when you're 18, right? And mom and dad are paying for everything. Of course, then that's your pocket money. But if you want to live like some of us, where we have to pay rent and things like that, they're not making a living. This is not a full-time thing. And a lot of them as well, they talk about all their sponsors and stuff like that, and then it comes out that like they're still living with mom and dad and they just get a free computer. So I think you have to be realistic, and that's hard because that means digging into things and understanding that not everyone is telling the truth about their circumstances. Saying that, all of that, there are people that are doing this full-time and are financing things. So I mentioned his name earlier, and I mentioned the article, Young Savage, Thabo Malloy. He's still in school, and he is a full-time esports player. His dad passed away last year. He is financing his mom, who does not have a job, and his younger sister, who's still in school, and he's doing that through esports. There is an article, so I'm not sharing anything personal here, and like I said, I will share it in my Discord as well a little bit later, where he sat down and he told me how hard it is because he's trying to balance all of this, and he'll tell you that like everyone thinks there's all this cash money, but it's actually really hard. He is someone that is doing this, that lives in his own house, that is looking after himself. I'm looking after myself, but I was realistic. So at the start, I realized that there was no way that South African esports could pay my rent and pay my bills. So I chose to focus overseas. I didn't move though. So a lot of people said I should have moved. I didn't move, and that was a personal reason. But it put me in a position where I could pay my bills. Saying that, it was also like a huge risk because breaking overseas and getting paid is almost impossible, and like not many people do it. So it was something that I did knowing the risks. And like I told you, I have my 3-month plan, my 5-month plan, like it was all set up. And here we go. I mean, this is a really nice comment in the chat from Iggy, which I think is important, where he said, sponsored player here, it's not a fairy tale. He's still working full time. He has to pay his rent and stream when he can. And then he has to enter the tournaments as well. So he's lucky to be sponsored by Bravado Gaming, as they're aware of the situation overall and super understanding, but he's definitely not living a lush life. My full-time job pays the rent. And this, I think, is really important for people to understand. So the original question that we got asked to do today was, can you do esports full-time? Short answer is yes. It's far more complicated than that, though. How to do it full-time, I think I've broken that down as best as I can. But I really do think people need to be a little bit more realistic, especially when it comes to wanting to be in front of the camera, either as a player or a commentator, understanding that this is entertainment and the opportunities are much smaller. On the other side as well, video editors, graphic designers, they'll tell you it's hard. And they've got to take on, even if they're hired by big orgs, they're normally taking on those side jobs. I'm just reading something here from one of my mods. Thanks, Lauren, you're a star. Good idea. We got to fix this one. We're going to fix a few things. But yeah, so that's it. I'm not going to talk more because it is a really broad topic, and I try to keep it as like down as possible. So I mean, did I cover, stop getting distracted. Did I cover everything you need? Small break. You can tell me if I did. Gonna take a water break. We probably need like music or something. Yeah, I'm gonna think about this a little bit better. And about how to lay this out. But yeah, so there we go. That was the first topic. I feel like I answered everything, but I am going to go through some of the queue now. So I feel like the queue is going to be, guys, we have a tie on topics to talk about next week. So I'm going to drop this one more time because I really need you guys to vote, because it's currently tied, which is going to make it really tough for me to decide what I want to talk about. So if you could keep your vote and going in. So each week, let me just give you a recap. This still doesn't have a name. If you would like to submit a name, I'd love that. So there's a few things about Chinox being a shit. Oh, sorry, no swears. Sorry, Banks. Here's how it's gonna go, right? Is that, hey El Nino. Here's how it's gonna go. Each week on a Wednesday at 1 p.m, I'm gonna sit here and we're gonna just chat about random things. The next few ones I'm doing, I'm gonna pull up videos and have a little bit more interactive. I'll also do lots of research, like to make sure. This one was just me talking because I wanted to see how this first one went, but moving forward it'll be a lot more researched. Ideally at some point I can get other people into comments as well, or record them commenting. That's kind of what I want to do. So it'll be like a little bit more journalistic, and we can chat. That's something that I like to do, and I think that this is kind of informative and fun. And the topics will be whatever you want them to be. So if you have a topic that you think I should chat about, !join. You just write !join and then you write your topic. Or alternatively, you can join my Discord and you can share. I'll kind of confirm the topic this week, but if something else pops up, I'll obviously change it, depending on what's kind of relevant at the time. So that's going to happen. So if you join my Discord in the esports chat, I will post, and this will happen like weekly. So once I've got more of this together with videos and stuff like that, I'll drop those links in the videos today. It's just one article, but I'll put them in the esports chat. So you'll always be able to get them on the Discord, so that this always happens, like you always have access to it, and it becomes like a cool community thing. It's kind of like a podcast but live, and my face is here. But that's kind of what I'm thinking of doing. So yeah, there we go. So we spoke about this topic, and then I've just realized we're going to have like a Q&A session at the end. So these last few minutes will be me just answering all the random questions that have popped up, because there are quite a few random questions. So I'll go through those now. But that's pretty much what this is going to look like.